The house still smelled like her. That was the first thing I noticed. 3 months since the funeral, 3 months since anyone had stepped inside, and somehow it still smelled like her. I stood in the doorway for a moment, just taking it all in, the smell, the silence, the cold air. My mother had lived alone in that house for 11 years, ever since my father died, ever since I moved to Tokyo. Maybe those were the same thing. I'd come back for holidays, not as often as I should have. I think about that now. The plan was simple. Spend the weekend sorting through her things. Decide what to keep. Donate what I could. Arrange for the rest to be cleared out. Practical things. The kind of work that keeps your hands busy and your mind occupied. I started in the kitchen, then moved to the living room. By afternoon, I'd worked through most of the house. I kept the radio on low. The silence felt too heavy without it. I left the bedroom until last. The light outside was already fading when I finally went in. That's where I found the box. It was tucked away on a shelf in her closet, hidden behind a stack of folded blankets, just an ordinary shoebox. The lid had been taped shut. My name was written on the side, Natsuki. In her handwriting, I sat on the edge of the bed, carefully peeled away the tape and opened it. Inside were envelopes, 19 of them, standing upright in neat rows, all sealed, all addressed to me. Each envelope had a date written in the top corner, not the date it had been written, the date it was supposed to be opened. The first one was dated 2 months ago, 1 month after she died. I opened it. My hands were steady, oddly steady. The letter was short, only a page. Her familiar handwriting covered both sides. It said, "Natsuki, you'll be back at work by now. The project you've been worrying about is going better. You aren't sleeping much. That's normal. It takes longer than people say. Eat something warm before bed. I love you." I read it twice, then a third time. She was right. I was back at work. The project had improved, and I wasn't sleeping, not properly. Every word was true, but they were also things a mother might guess. Grief affects everyone. Work goes on. Sleep becomes difficult. Maybe she had simply known me that well. I reached for the second envelope, then stopped. Its date was still 3 weeks away, a letter from the future. For some reason that made me uncomfortable, so I set it aside and picked up another. This one was dated last month, a date that had already passed. I opened it. "Natsuki, you'll have moved apartments by now. The new place is smaller, but you'll love the light. You were right to leave. The old apartment had too much of him in it. I know you never told me about the separation. You were trying to protect me. You always do that. The new place will be good for you." I stared at the page. I had moved apartments 4 weeks earlier, after my relationship ended, but I had never told her about him. Not the relationship, not the breakup, not the move. Nothing. She'd been sick for years. I didn't want to burden her with my problems, yet somehow she knew. And the strange part wasn't the breakup. It wasn't the apartment. It was the detail she got exactly right. The light. The new apartment had beautiful morning light. That's what stayed in my head, that one stupid detail, the light. After a few minutes, I picked up the second envelope, the one dated 3 weeks from now, and opened it. "Natsuki, you'll be visiting the house this weekend. It's time. You've been putting it off. I hope you keep the blue blanket from my closet. The nights are cold there now. Make yourself some tea before bed and don't stay up too late reading these." I felt my stomach tighten. I was visiting the house that weekend. I had been putting it off for months. Slowly, I looked toward the closet. The blue blanket was still there. Folded on the shelf, I'd already decided to take it home. Don't stay up too late reading these. I carefully put the letters back into the box, closed the lid, then walked over to the window. Outside, the garden was nearly bare. Most of the leaves had fallen. A few bright orange persimmons still hung from the tree, overripe, forgotten. No one left to pick them. There had to be an explanation. She'd written the letters while she was sick. That made sense. Maybe she'd spent months imagining my future, trying to leave pieces of herself behind, the apartment. Maybe she'd guessed. The relationship. Maybe she'd noticed things I thought I'd hidden. The visit to the house. She always said I avoided difficult things. Maybe that wasn't strange either. That's what I kept telling myself, until I remembered something. There were 19 envelopes in that box, and the last one was dated 30 years from now. I counted them again. Just to be sure, 19 spread across decades, each one sealed, each one waiting. I imagined my mother sitting alone, writing letters for a future she knew she wouldn't see, trying to leave guidance behind, trying to stay with me. The image almost made sense. Almost, but not completely, because she'd known about the apartment, the breakup, the light, and the letter about this weekend had been written years ago, before she was diagnosed, before she was even sick. I knew that because I'd found her medical records while cleaning. The diagnosis came much later, and the tape sealing the box had yellowed with age. It had been sitting there for years. That night, I made tea, just like she'd told me to. I sat at the kitchen table, the box in front of me, the letters stacked neatly inside. I thought about opening all of them, reading every single one, finding the mistake, the prediction that didn't come true, the proof that she was only guessing. But I couldn't do it. Part of me didn't want the mystery solved, and another part was afraid it wouldn't be. I took the box back to Tokyo with me. It's still there now, on a shelf in my apartment. The apartment with the good light. I've opened a few more letters since then. Only the ones whose dates have already passed. Every time she's been right. Not in a vague way, not with lucky guesses, in specific ways, private ways, details I've never shared with anyone, things I barely admitted to myself. The last envelope is still sealed, 30 years from now. Sometimes I take it down from the shelf just to hold it. I wonder what's inside. Advice, a goodbye, a warning, maybe something else, maybe something she knew I wasn't ready to hear. I don't know, and maybe I never will, because the envelope is still sealed, and I think it needs to stay that way. Sometimes, late at night, when I can't sleep, I look at it, and I wonder, if I opened it today, would it already know I was coming?